And we're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Real Estate, brought to you by yours truly. I'm Ray, and I'm your host, the Bearded Man of Real Estate. And today we got a ton of stuff to talk about. This is episode 308, broadcast live Wednesday, March 12th, 2025. Where are we broadcasting, you might ask? Oh, thank you for asking. We're broadcasting on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. There it is. There's a go live button on Instagram. It always takes a couple of seconds to pop up over there. So now we're live on Instagram. We're also live on Twitch. Did I say LinkedIn? And we're live on Clubhouse. And if you join us on Clubhouse, you can actually speak and add your voice to the conversation. So today I missed last week because I took a spontaneous trip to Dallas to kind of, I guess, meet some people and also do a pilot program for something for Sharon. So it was a cool trip, but because I missed, news broke around the world for all kinds of stuff. And it was crazy. And so we do have a ton to talk about today. And I am a little bit distracted because those of you who know me know that my Instagram handle is Razorback, RAYZORBACK, and the Razorbacks, RAZORBACKs, are playing right now in the SEC tournament. We just nailed a 3. I mean, that was right on cue. So thanks everybody for joining us. What'd you say, Andy? I couldn't hear you, Andy. Did you say go Hogs?
I said go Gators.
That's what I thought you said. Go Hogs. So we're playing a team that like totally blew us out the other day, and for whatever reason we just didn't care, and they're up on us. So South Carolina is who we're playing. I think we can all agree to be against South Carolina, right, Courtney? Courtney's somewhere down there. Okay. I should also mention that if you're joining us on any of those other streams, instead of commenting out loud, you could post a comment, and then we could talk about your comment. So Olivier's wondering how Matt's golf game is going. Apparently, I mean, Scap already said it wasn't doing too hot, so we kind of have the inside. As Matt lost in a bunker, and then there you go. Matt LaMarche is showing up. All right, Terry, what's up? All right, so without further ado.
Nothing.
Whoa, you're really muffled. I couldn't really hear what you said.
I said nothing's up, just can hear better up here.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so somebody just mentioned in the Clubhouse chat, Ray, your voice is muffly. So for whatever reason, Clubhouse doesn't have great audio whenever you go through a mixer and all this other stuff. So it sounds better on YouTube and the podcast, and it sounds really great on all those other sources, except on Clubhouse. It sounds not so great. So if you want better audio, one of the things you could do is what Terry did, just raise your hand and come up to the stage. For whatever reason, the audio is a little bit better there, or you can just listen on YouTube and then chime in on Clubhouse whenever you want to talk. So that's what a lot of people in Clubhouse do. All right. And thanks for the reminder. I did change. For whatever reason, Clubhouse cannot figure out daylight saving time. If you have a room in there and it's scheduled and you spring forward or fall back, you have to go into that room and change the time. So I did do that right before the show. So, all right. Thanks everyone for joining. The thumbnail today explains a lot. So the thumbnail is this. It's me looking over at Glenn and Gary. Glenn of Redfin, CEO, and Gary, founder, owner, no longer CEO of Keller Williams. And it's got money in the background, and it's got like a stock market red line going down behind them. And then it says sellouts really big. And I'm looking over to them. So this is the question that we're gonna start the show with. Stone Point, and this is something that Gary said that he would never ever do, is to sell out to private equity. Well, never say never. You should never say never, because they sold out to some private equity. So private equity firm Stone Point Capital is seeking to grow Keller Williams and ultimately cash out. Analysts told Inman that expansion could come from new tech, an IPO, or something else entirely. So what they're saying is they're investing into the company and taking a large share of the company so that they can help the company grow and expand. Supposedly, they're not going to do anything as far as turning the direction or changing the direction as far as the visionary goes. But I guess they could essentially change the direction as far as, because, you know, they're throwing the money out there. So they can say, no, I want you guys to buy this company or buy that company or merge with this company. So March 3rd, Keller Williams revealed it would take on a major investment from private equity, Stone Capital. Taking on an investment sounds way better than selling out to them. The companies have declined how big the investment is or how much of Keller Williams Stone Point now owns. But even without those details, the story is the biggest in recent M&A. In this article on Inman, it talks about some of the previous investments that this company has made, Stone Point, and one was Lone Wolf, which is a real estate technology company that provides transaction management and back office support. And so it buys Lone Wolf. It doesn't really do anything to it except then help Lone Wolf acquire W+R Studios. So it could be something in which Keller Williams is taking on a significant investment in capital so that they can buy another company. Or are they taking on a significant investment of capital so that they can put somebody else as CEO and eventually let good old Gary retire? I mean, the guy's been doing this for a lot of years. I mean, surely he's getting a little tired. So I will never say, I'll say this right now to my entire team. I'm not going to say I will never take money from private equity, but I can say that if I took money from private equity, I'd make it worth my teams too. I mean, they would definitely benefit. And I guess that's the question that a lot of agents are asking is, what is the benefit for agents in this? And I hope that could be kind of, that could come out, you know, in the next couple of weeks to see exactly what they're going to do. You know, there's a lot of speculation in the Inman article. You see this, a platform play for IPO. Industry insiders spoke with Inman theories about what may come next. Some are saying that this could then lead to an IPO. Some say no way. I don't know. We'll see what it is, but this was a huge story. A lot of people were telling me Gary Keller sold out. It's not exactly how it's been framed, but it does appear that they took on a significant investment from private capital. What's up, Justin? I see you up there. I haven't seen you in a while, buddy. All right. So if you're a Keller Williams agent, how does this make you feel? Is this a good move? Is this a bad move? Drop it in the comments. Let me know what you think. If you're not a Keller Williams agent, what do you think about this? Is it shady? Is it not shady? For some reason, I had Keller Williams agents telling me like, oh, this is great. This is wonderful. This is exactly what we want. And then I had some non-Keller Williams agents saying, he said he would never do this, and now he's doing this. I used to be at Keller Williams. I'm so glad I'm not there now. So I definitely think that this move is always seen through the perspective of what you want to see. So I just ask you to try to open your mind to maybe some other opportunities here. And let's see what really happens. What's up, guys? Justin on Instagram, Justin.Conacow says, sell. If I had that sound effect, I need to get that sound effect from the CNBC guy, Mad Money. All right, so Keller Williams selling out. They're not the only one. Oh, let me get some comments. Here's the comments. Okay. Olivier says we have a new prime minister and we have elections in 1.5 months. Oh, you're talking about the, yeah, y'all just dropped your rate up there in Canada. The Canada news for the day. Was it 25 basis points, Olivier? What did I see? Olivier put this in the,
yeah, 25 basis points.
Okay. Yeah. Bank of Canada cuts key interest rates to 2.75% as tariffs royal economy. Is it getting really bad up there, Olivier? Are you guys, y'all still got food? You still good?
I can barely eat. No, honestly, it's all investment for businesses is on pause right now because it changes everything. But it'll last for however long it lasts, and we'll see what happens after. But we'll pull through. We always pull through. It's just uncertainty. Nobody likes uncertainty, right? They don't care if it's good or bad news, but just give us news, not maybe something, and change every day.
Yeah, they want something steady. Yeah, I think that'll come about. It is interesting though. I have a lot of friends that have been reporting egg prices lately, and egg prices dropped for $2, and those friends aren't really saying anything about that today. So I thought that was weird. You know, for consistency, I think they should put it out there. All right. So speaking of sellouts, not you, Olivier, not you. I'm talking about Gary Keller.
Hey, I'll take $1 billion and sell out anytime.
Anytime. I can do whatever you want for $1 billion. All right. Rocket Companies to acquire Redfin in a $1.75 billion deal. So this was perhaps even bigger news than Gary Keller. I feel like the Keller Williams news was out there, and then Redfin was like, hold my beer. Watch this. So Rocket Companies to acquire Redfin. Selfishly, I'm curious what's going to happen with their news department at Redfin. Are they going to keep the news and data and analysis and all that stuff? Or are they going to shed that? So Rocket Companies announced Monday that it will require Redfin a $1.75 billion all-stock deal. This move aims to integrate Rocket's mortgage lending with Redfin's home search and real estate services, making it easier for people to buy and finance homes in one place. Let's see. Under the terms, Redfin shareholders will receive 0.7926 Rocket shares per Redfin share, a 63% premium over Redfin's 30-day average price. The deal is expected to close in the second or third quarter of 2025. Oops, look at that. It bypassed my silence. Here, let's try it again. Do not disturb again on everything. All right, sorry about that. Despite the acquisition, Redfin will keep its name and website, and its CEO, Glenn Kelman, will continue to lead the company, reporting to Rocket CEO Varun Krishna. There's a quote from Varun: Rocket and Redfin have a unified vision, a better way to buy and sell homes together. We will improve experience by connecting traditionally disparate steps of the search and financing process with lending technology that removes friction, reduces costs, and increases value to American home buyers. Is it going to make a big difference? What they're saying, what Redfin and Rocket are saying, is it could reduce the cost to consumers by half. But how? Like, that's something that Redfin has been saying for years. That Olivier says answer when I call. Redfin's been saying for years that they're saving customers money, but was Redfin profitable?
No.
I don't think they've made a profit yet.
I think that you've got two discount companies that have joined together to offer discount services to those people who want discount services.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the article I'm looking at now, the comment is, will non-Redfin agents love their buyers contacting a lender owned by a real estate brokerage competitor that offers buyer incentives when they use their agent?
No, so I will tell you exactly what happened to us when Zillow bought ShowingTime. Is that we backed out of ShowingTime because ShowingTime is owned by Zillow, and Zillow is a competing broker in the marketplace. And there's, like, even if Keller Williams had the best call service in the world, I wouldn't be using them because I have to give my clients data to another company. There's no way. I'm not going to give my clients data to another brokerage firm. So why would I ever refer my clients to Rocket Mortgage when they're owned by a brokerage firm and I have to give my clients data and information to another brokerage to get their loan? No way. There's no way. I agree with you, Terry. I think this is in the long run, I think it's going to hurt their lending business. Sounds catty. I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference in Redfin's business because they're not even making a profit. I don't know. I did look up their 2024 fourth quarter revenue was $244.3 million. It's an increase of 12% compared to the fourth quarter in 2023. Gross profit was $81.9 million, an increase of 12% year over year. Real estate services gross profit was $32.7 million. It's an increase of 9% year over year. Net loss was $36.4 million compared to a net loss of $22.9 million in the fourth quarter of 2023. It's attributable to common stock was $36.7 million. So net loss per share is attributable is 29 cents a share. That's what they lost. So adjusted EBITDA was $2.9 million. Yeah, they're not, okay. This is just a different world. We've talked about this on the show before, that a lot of these companies are in a different category where they don't have to make money for whatever reason to be competitive. It's really difficult to compete with that type of company. Eventually, they're going to have to make money. I just don't know what that actually looks like. Becky, what's up, Becky? Becky McCauley says, "Your Charlotte, nobody is saving money with the Redfin and Rocket partnership. Nobody's saving money. What's it worth appraisal? SCAP in parentheses. Thanks for adding the parentheses. SCAP says, great. So Rocket Mortgage brokers will now send appraisers bad Redfin data for reconsiderations of value request. That's a great point. I don't think Rocket will have a problem with this. Don't they have their own third-party appraisal services that they own? And surely they could just, use their own people. SCAP. I don't think they would need anyone else in this. What could go wrong? Having a real estate agent and a lender working hand in hand from the exact same company, along with an appraiser picked. But what could go wrong?
Everything, and it's going to happen.
So what's the name going to be? Are they going to merge names at all? No, it does say it was going to
keep in their name.
I feel like they had a chance to do like Rocket Fin, because there are fins on a rocket, right? Red Rocket. Well, that's unfortunate. Red Rocket would not be smart. That's unfortunate for those South Park fans. That's an unfortunate combination. Wow. All right. So Rocket expects over 200 million in run rate synergies by 2027, which includes saving 140 million in cost and boosting revenue by 60 million by linking Redfin's agents with Rocket's mortgage services. The company also anticipates the move will strengthen its position in the mortgage market, where it saw 8% growth in 2024. So I know a lot of real estate companies are starting brokerage companies so that they can compete with companies like Rocket and give this, ridiculous kickback. As long as you use our agents and our lending services, here's this ridiculous kickback. So what I envision a future where every brokerage has their own lending arm, and that lending arm just matches whatever Rocket says they could do. So if you're working with a client, the client says, well, if I go with Rocket and use this Redfin agent, I know I've signed a contract with you, but I want to cancel that and use this Redfin agent so I get a kickback. You can say, oh, we have that kickback as well. They can say, what? Yeah, just get approved with this in-house guy, and then we can give you the same kickback they can give you. So it's going to really neutralize the competition in that market, because Rocket's primary market is lending. That's where they're trying to make their profit. Most brokerages, their primary market is home sales and helping buyers find homes. That's where they're making the most of their money. So who can give up the most money to give the kickback? Is it going to be the lending side, or is it going to be the agent side? What's up, Mike? Okay. Mike, did you want to comment on this thing, or you just joined us?
I just logged in.
Oh, okay. I just throw you up at the top every time, Here's another take on this from the Fox News. Let me stop the ads. Stop the ads so that you guys don't get in it. There you go. All right. So here's another take on this. This deal was on Fox. I always find it interesting when real estate deals end up on just general news. Rocket's $12.50 per share offer equates to a near 115% premium to Redfin's Friday close. What else did I find interesting in this one? Shareholders of Rocket will own 95% of the combined company on a fully diluted basis, while Redfin shareholders will own the rest on deal completion, expected in the second or third quarter. Morgan Stanley served as Rocket's financial advisor. Goldman Sachs advised Redfin. All right, that's about it. All right, so we'll see what happens. M&A, big story in real estate. And they say it's going to continue to be a big story this year as more brokerages take on additional services like title, banks, lenders. They'll probably buy appraisers. So that'll be cheap. I'm just saying that because you're here, Scott. Rocket Redfin acquisition will cut consumer transaction costs by half. This is the other take on MM. And the pitch to investors Monday, Rocket executives said that by handling every aspect of home buying and selling, from The home search, mortgage, financing, title, closing, transaction costs on the median price home will drop from $40,000 to $20,000. I want to see the numbers. How? I want to see the numbers. There's a lot of quote unquote disruptors right now in the marketplace saying that they have all kinds of savings that they can pull. Well, from where? Who's giving up the money? There's nothing free. So who's giving up the money? Where are the savings coming from? I want to see the numbers because it just doesn't make sense to me. Unless you're just totally satisfied with a discount product. And that will always be in the marketplace. And it's no different. Now you just have a discount product and you have 2 for 1. You go to one place, like Terry said, to get both discount products. I've got some names, suggested names in the chat. Redkit, Redcket. That's a little hard to say, Matt. Rocket Fin is what I was saying. I think that's pretty good. Matt says, I wonder if they will data share. This is what would keep me from sending my people to them, is not knowing if they will data share or not.
You're going to sell it to Zillow.
Just package it all and sell it to Zillow. So literal home search. Well, Redfin is a competing home search product, right? So that may actually be frowned upon by, is it the FTC that kind of looks at when a company's too big, it has the monopoly and all that.
Right.
Becky McCulley says,
they've got the money.
Becky McCulley says there are not any synergies to pull savings from. There's no distribution channels, real estate offices, et cetera, that can reduce either business expenses. That's a good point. Where would they pull the savings from in order to save other people more than what is being saved now? Is that what you're saying, Becky? Like, let's say you have a Redfin agent and a Rocket agent on the same deal right now. Where are the savings going to be from? What's different in that deal? So this was interesting. I had a Redfin agent call me to refer business to me. Now the agent wasn't at Redfin officially. I think he was some kind of partner. And he said, hey, we want to refer some business to you. And when they buy, they get a rebate based on what they sell. I said, okay, no problem. It's like a traditional type of, deal. And they're like, yeah, kind of. What they said was, all right, let's see if I can get this right. It was, I can't remember the exact percentage, but let's say it's a 1% rebate or whatever. The guy was selling $1.5 million property in Colorado, wanted to come to my state, Arkansas, and buy a property. And I would then, once he buys, give him a 1% rebate based on what he sold. Could we figure that out? Possibly. It's going to be weird in the paperwork, though, because in Arkansas, you have to put in the offers like, hey, this is what you agree to pay. So they're basically going to see the rebate that they're getting in the paperwork that they're purchasing a home. But I asked the agent, well, what if they buy a $200,000 property? And they just said, what do you mean? I was like, well, if they're getting a 1% rebate, but they're only buying a $200,000 property, then how can I possibly help them? Like I owe them money. And he said, oh, I didn't think about that. Like, yeah, that's a significant thing to think about. What are they going to buy? And he said, I don't know. I think they are going to downsize. I said, well, obviously I can't pay them for them to come and buy a house. He said, how does this work? And I said, that's what I'm asking you, bro. So if you're a Redfin agent, if I've got this all wrong and mixed up, tell me what it is, because I want to know. But I just thought that that was interesting, kind of to see the inner workings on how this goes. And I asked him, I was like, well, why didn't he get that at the time of sale? And he's like, well, he's got to sell and buy with the company. And then he says, I can see why this would be hard coming out if it's happening outside of the Redfin agents. I said, yeah, because there's no corporation, to give up something. I'm literally paying them to come buy a home here. That's not going to work. So there's a lot in the Redfin model that needs to be worked out. We don't really have very many Redfin agents here. Okay, there's more to go. Wait, let me find. Just a second. There it is. We're back in court. That's right. Real estate agents are back in court. Specifically Howard Hanna. And we've talked about this a little bit. But they're in the lawsuit called, what is this one called? Gibson. They're in the Gibson lawsuit. This is presided over by the same judge, Stephen Bough, Bough, who presided over the Sitzer-Burnett lawsuit. So you already kind of know, like, maybe what he's thinking here. Howard Hanna says, hey, wait, Stephen Bough, Judge Stephen Bough, you have to recuse yourself from this because one of the plaintiffs gave money to your wife's political campaign. Apparently, she's a politician in Missouri. I don't know anything about her or where she stands. So if you're from Missouri, wait, I do have some. Ashley, do you know anything about Andrea Bough, Bough? I don't know if she's Democrat or Republican. Based on some of her posts, I think she probably leans left, but that's all I could tell. Which I only say that because it's interesting if she married also. I'm not saying you have to marry someone that has the same political affiliation as you, but oftentimes that happens. So I'm kind of curious what Judge Stephen Bough, what side of the aisle he is, because a lot of people were thinking that the Republicans were kind of out to get NAR because of political contributions in the past that were made heavily on the Democrat side, but that may not appear to be the case. Anyway, so Andrea Bough received a political donation from one of the plaintiffs in the new lawsuit known as Gibson. The brokerage made a demand in a new filing, which was filed within hours of the $5.3 billion jury verdict that hit the industry in October of 2023. In the filing, Howard Hanna attorneys said that Matthew Damirion, who is a plaintiff attorney in the Sitzer case, through the trial and filed the Gibson case, made donations to the Kansas City, Missouri City Council campaign of Andrea Bough, a member of the council and wife of Judge Stephen Bough. The court must step down from its presiding over this case because it has failed to disclose and resolve, in its own words, an abundantly clear ground for disqualification requiring his recusal, the donations of a former lead class counsel. Oh, it's the class counsel. It's not one of the plaintiffs. It's plaintiff's counsel, Matthew Damirion, to the political campaign of his wife, Andrea Bough, the attorneys wrote. So it's only $2,750 to the committee to elect Andrea Bough, including his at least one donation in October of 2022. Howard Hanna attorneys also noted that Brandon Boulware donated to Andrea Bough in 2018 and that Michael Ketchmark made donations to Political Action Committee that later gave money to her campaign. Are you telling me that all this could be political? Is that what you're saying? No, this is about justice. This is about justice for sellers and buyers. There's no way that this has a political implication. That would be crazy. Nuts. That would be nuts. I mean, so Bough previously offered to recuse himself from the Sitzer-Burnett case, but Howard Hanna attorney wrote that he made no such offer in Gibson. I guess now that they know how he rules, they're like, yeah, get him out of here. Bough also noted that at the time, the Kansas City Association Realtors PAC donated to his wife in October of 2019. So great job, PAC, donating to the judge's wife, who then charged you billions of dollars. Way to go, guys. Another wise use of her funds. The legal ethic rules say that if I don't go look at these disclosures, then I can just, in essence, not have to know who donated to her, and that's how it can go, Bo said at the time, according to the transcript. that doesn't sound good. All right, so we'll see what happens. There may be a shakeup on the judge. Speaking of lawsuits, NAR is getting threatened with another one. The fate of clear cooperation at hand as Ketchmark issues warning. Ketchmark. The name that that instills fear in the hearts of NAR's politicians. All right, so as NAR prepares to announce its pocket listing rule decision in the coming weeks, attorney Michael Ketchmark said he'll consider legal action against brokers who vote to maintain the rule. So threat of legal action. You vote to maintain this rule, you're going to get sued by Ketchmark. Leaders of the National Association of Realtors are set to decide the fate of clear cooperation policy and its controversial pocket listing rule within weeks. Now, this rule says currently that if a real estate agent lists a property, it has to be then on the MLS within 24 hours. It's a nationwide rule. And there's already some boards that are like saying, yeah, we're not going to enforce that. But it is a nationwide rule. Leaders like Compass are coming out against this, saying, no, this affects how we do business. This is not good. A seller should be able to sell how they want to sell. So Ketchmark says that if you guys uphold this rule, if you keep this clear cooperation rule. Now, remember, the clear cooperation rule was put into place in response to the DOJ settlement. So the DOJ said, these are things you have to do. And if you don't do these things, you're going to get in trouble. And NAR said, okay, we're going to do these things to make it better. DOJ said, okay, that's great. And then later, the DOJ said, okay, that's great, but we're going to reinvestigate you for some other things. And then Ketchmark is saying, if you indeed do uphold this rule, now we're going to bring the hammer on you. So basically, the old phrase, they can't win for losing? That is where NAR is right now. They obey the DOJ. Now they're getting threatened to be sued for obeying the DOJ settlement. This is wild. Michael Ketchmark told Inman in a phone interview Monday that his firm will decide the next move depending on the vote outcome. Quote, it's my expectation that after the meeting, when it comes to NAR's vote overall, that they'll do the right thing. If they refuse to do so, the committee votes in favor of this policy and it goes on and the changes aren't made, we'll take depositions of the people involved and figure out exactly why they did that and what the motivation is behind it. And then we'll make a decision at that point on how to proceed. Ooh. So what do you think? What's going to happen? Drop in the comments. Are we going to keep clear cooperation? Are we not going to keep clear cooperation? Darcy. Darcy, I just checked the Clubhouse chat. I can't read that one. That's funny. Ashley says, I'm not familiar with that name, man. Okay. All right. So we'll see what happens. Now, y'all remember, as all this stuff was coming out, there was another org. Do you remember the other org area? When people were super mad at the National Association of Realtors, they got so mad that people started throwing their weight behind a new national organization. And it was called AREA, the American Real Estate Association. Now, I haven't heard much news from AREA lately, but Jason, actually famously, one of the founders, appeared on our show and talked a little bit about this. Well, they have proposed a clear cooperation solution. So in the proposal, they revealed what's described as clear collaboration policy, which officials called a balanced, fair policy that respects seller choice and ensures professional access to listings and fosters competitive real estate environment. The policy would end one-size-fits-all approach while addressing concerns that the U.S. Department of Justice has expressed about the current status quo, and its authors told Inman exclusively. All right, so let me deal with a couple of things about this clear cooperation policy and where we're currently at, and then I'm going to go into the exact proposal and the terms of what they said. Part of my issue with the clear cooperation is that it doesn't fix the problem that it's supposed to solve. The problem that it's supposed to solve is when someone lists a property, they don't put it out there publicly, and this agent and brokerage keeps this property privately and they try to sell it. What we see locally is that those brokerages try to sell it within their own brokerage and within their own firm. That is currently still allowed. In the current clear cooperation policy, that is currently still allowed. So it doesn't really fix that problem at all. The only problem it fixes is an agent privately selling a property to other brokerages. Well, what? Why is this an issue? If somebody doesn't want their home on the MLS, they want it sold privately, they don't want it blasted everywhere, but the agent is out there sharing it with other agents, okay, I'm fine with this. I'm not fine with a brokerage trying to keep it all in-house, preventing it from hitting the market and not giving anyone else access to it, because I feel like that is gatekeeping. Okay, that's my problem with the current policy as it is written. I also don't like that the sellers don't have a choice to do something different. If they want to sell it privately, they should be able to sell it privately. It shouldn't be a big deal. But this is a delicate situation because you have other people saying, well, it's not fair because you could have these big brokerages that all work together to sell private listings and they don't give access to the public. Okay, that's also fair. So the rule that the area is proposing is that you have a opt-in optional button on your MLSs to syndicate the listing to other third-party websites. So you list a property on the MLS, it doesn't go anywhere. It stays just on the MLS and only real estate agents have access to it. Then if you want, you hit a button. Once you hit the button, it's then syndicated to Zillow, Trulia, or Redfin, all those other places. So it still requires you to put it on the MLS within a certain amount of time, but it's open to all the other agents in the marketplace. They call it clear collaboration. Okay, I don't see a huge problem with that. I also don't see a huge use case for it unless it is a very private seller with a luxury home. But even then, the word's going to get out because you got, I think in California, you have like 100,000 agents looking at the property. It's not going to be private. So it says agents have the ability, but not the requirement to syndicate the listing onto the public platforms. According to the American Real Estate Association, this approach would open the door for consumers to maintain their privacy. Meanwhile, licensed agents could still find even non-public listings by searching the MLS. The organization is also pitching the proposal as a boon to smaller and independent brokerages. It's not that it's a boon. It's just that it's not an inhibitor, right? If you have a big brokerage that's trying to keep everything in-house, they're currently able to, even with the current clear cooperation policy. The clear collaboration policy would not enable them to do that, is my understanding. They would have to put it on the MLS, but it's open to all agents. All right, is this a good compromise, or should we just do away with the whole thing? What are we doing? Who's in the chat? Chat, react. Is it good or is it bad? That's what I want to know. And all of you that are over there chatting on Clubhouse, I can't display your chats.
I think it's good to the extent that the consumer gets to make the choice. Right now, they don't have a full choice to make. It's just like, this is the way we do things. I think it's better in that way, but like you said, I don't think it's going to get used very often.
Yeah, that's
so,
yeah.
Because word does get out, unless you're signing NDAs to go see a house, and that does happen in certain markets, not many of them, but yeah, you've got some of those ultra wealthy or celebrities that don't want anybody in their business, and they've got to sign NDAs and all that stuff. So that's part of it. But that's the exception to the rule. I would think in a listing agreement, you could write a stipulation to the listing agreement that, hey, this is what the seller wants to do, and this stipulation is going to allow me to skirt around some of those rules, clear cooperation rules, whatever that boards have.
Yeah, I can see that. I do like giving people the option. There's some intricacies though. I know our MLS has the ability to send search results to people straight from the MLS. I wonder, I guess the button, if you say don't syndicate, it would also not send it out to the clients that are signed up for the MLS search from real estate agents, right? Or would it? Because they're signed up through a real estate agent. So shouldn't they be able to get the search from the MLS, even though it's not public? I don't know. That's a hard, I guess.
I don't know if it's like this anymore, but it used to be in our MLS that when you did a coming soon, you couldn't send that coming soon to one of your clients that you had entered their information for a search in MLS. It still wasn't able to be seen. So
interesting.
I mean, that option is kind of there, and obviously you can build those options in. All of this is coding, right? But if it's like, hey, this is an agent only view.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily coming soon. This is like it's on the market in MLS, but it's agent only view. And if a specific buyer wants to see it, then the seller says, hey, I want to make sure that this buyer is either qualified to purchase the home, and that they possibly signed whatever documentation to see the home, like an NDA or something.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know. There's some things that have to be worked out. I think it's a good idea. It's kind of a compromise. They suggest a fair listing window between the time agents share the listings internally and when they have to submit it to their MLS. I think that's, in my opinion, that's the bigger issue, is that brokerages that are trying to keep it from other brokerages. That doesn't seem fair.
Well, the hard part, Ray, is now we're telling clients that they have to sign up for us with buyer agency. But hey, if you're signed up with me, you can't work with this agent who's doing a pocket listing just with their brokerage.
Yeah.
That's where the problem to me is. And we ran into that in California all the time. It was very difficult for us to get buyer agency signed in San Diego because they were working with 6 other agents who had pocket listings.
No one wanted anything exclusive. That is, right. There's a lot of that here as well, where people say, do I need to sign up with you exclusively, or can I sign up with multiple agents to see what those other companies have? And right now they're like, well, they are not supposed to have anything, but they do. But also as an agent, I have to get in on the good side, quote unquote, with those companies and with those agents of those companies, because they'll tell me about them. And if I'm not in on the good side, then I won't know about them. And so that's also a little shady, because I know that those companies will tell me about those properties that they only have available internal. And so if they're doing it with me, they're doing it with other agents too, right? So there's some other agents out there that aren't getting that privilege. My buyers are, because I've worked hard on those relationships, but I shouldn't have to, because that's where discrimination can play a role. All right, let's keep going. We'll keep a look on everything from the clear cooperation, clear collaboration area. We'll see what happens. Maybe we could get Jason back on the show to talk more about it and to update us on how area is doing. All right, let's talk about Realtors Hate Me. Do realtors hate me? He is the for sale by owner that, quote unquote, sparks industry-wide debate. I think BAM is giving Broke Agent Media is the one that is putting this story together. I think they're giving this guy way too much credit. I mean, it's just some people on Instagram. In reality, I don't think it's an industry-wide debate. When you look at the reach of something like that versus the reach of the Rocket and Redfin merger, or Gary Keller taking on private equity. I mean, those things shake up the industry. I don't think this is really shaking up the industry. And if you've been an agent as long as I have, You've seen tons and tons and tons of people come through saying that they wanted to shake up the industry and disrupt the industry, and they have not. The only thing that's disrupted the industry is Ketchmark, the attorney, but that didn't really disrupt professionals who are doing what they should do the whole time. So here's the back. Let me give you the background. A guy creates an account, says Realtors Hate Me. And that's the name of the account on Instagram. And he goes on and says, hey, I'm going to sell my house by myself. Agents are telling me it's impossible. I can't do it. I'm going to do it by myself. He, long story short, does go under contract fairly recently. So about 15 days in, he goes under contract. He catalogs every day of trying to sell his home himself, what it's like, and the people that he's run up against. Now, I'm not a drama guy. As a matter of fact, I don't even watch drama TV shows. I don't like it. It's like drama itself for me is cringe. This guy is very dramatic about everything. And it's creating so much drama in his local industry there too. And other agents are also drama. I mean, I'm not saying that the other agents that he's talking about aren't at fault. They clearly are at fault. They're doing stupid stuff. But as somebody that's been in the market a long time, agents doing stupid stuff is not something I'm not familiar with. I have to work with these agents every day. Yeah, I know they do dumb stuff. So for instance, he had a video of an agent at an office talking about his house and said that these agents were saying not to go show his home because it was for sale by owner and he was causing so much strife. There was another video of an agent who was showing his property at an office saying, hey, it's a great opportunity. And then that agent told him all the backlash he had from other agents in the industry saying, why are you promoting this guy? This guy's no good. I mean, the guy's account says Realtors Hate Me. So he's setting this up as a controversial thing. Someone selling their home by themselves, in my opinion, is not controversial. It is an open and fair market, and they are welcome to do that. Now, there's a lot that they should consider in doing that. And, there's some people that have told me, like, I've sold 6 homes before. I'm like, great, we did that this week. And so, yes, you sold 6 homes, but there's a lot that's happened since the 3 years that you bought it or 3 years that you sold it. There's a lot of changes that take place in the industry, and there's a lot of things that you have to watch out for. And can a for sale by owner learn those things? Absolutely. Can a for sale by owner effectively market their property to the agents and consumers and get an offer? Yeah, for sure. Is it more difficult? Yes. Does that mean that the industry is not working for that person? No. So let's look a little bit at Broke Agent Media's analysis. He said how it started, the $80,000 commission question, day one of trying to sell my house without an agent. What began as a simple attempt to avoid commission fees quickly turned into a deep dive into real estate practices that he believes are rigged against for sale by owner sellers. Jared James weighed in on it. You also had Ricky Caruth that weighed in on it. He said, this all started when I wanted to sell my turnkey home in a desirable neighborhood in Boulder, Colorado, and every agent I interviewed failed to justify the 2.5 or 3% commission. 80% of real estate agents fail. He should have interviewed 8 out of 10 agents and been disappointed. There should have only been 2 agents there that would have shown him their value and exactly why they can charge what they charge. So he lists his property. It doesn't sell immediately. When it doesn't sell immediately, a lot of agents are in the comments saying, oh, you've overpriced your home. You've overpriced your home. You've overpriced your home. It's like a $2.5 million house or something. Like, it's not going to sell in a day in most cases. This is not 2020 anymore, right? So it's not going to sell in a day. Anyway, these dumb agents are in the comments. Oh, you must have overpriced it. When he goes under contract, they're like, oh, you sold it for too low. 15 days later, guys, you can't. Okay. It's annoying to me how many people are commenting without knowing the market, without knowing the property. You're just saying stuff and it's making you look terrible. And he's exactly right about that. So anyway, he he said he tried to sign up for an MLS entry only service and he hit another roadblock, stating that they couldn't do only entry service in Colorado because Colorado has what's called a minimum service state, and basically means that consumers are forced to pay thousands of dollars to brokers and hand over the work that they do themselves to get access to the MLS. Now, I asked some of my friends in Colorado about this, and they said that's a misunderstanding of the rule, and that there definitely are entry only companies. They just have to disclose that all I'm going to do is put you in. So maybe it's his very particular area, but whatever. We have a minimal service, but it's, if you say you're going to represent them, here's what you have to do to represent them. It's to protect the consumer. It's not to protect the agent. But you can also not represent them and just do entry only in most markets. Anyway, he talked about steering. He talked about how for sale by owners versus Zillow were a hidden listing. So there was an additional tab that you had to click to see all the for sale by owner listings. And now they're automatically included in the search results. So Zillow did change their practices. I believe this was from Rex. You remember when Rex was listing properties on the Zillow platform without paying, mind you, but they were listing these for sale by owner properties, and then Rex took them to court saying, you put us in a different tab. Why'd you do that and not put us in the other tab? And Rex built their business on doing this. All right. So Zillow actually changed this. So now for sale by owner listings are included. You could make an argument, and I think Jerry James made this argument too, by separating the for sale by owners into another tab. And I checked locally. We have like 1,200 local searches in this little search that I did recently. In that little search, there were only about 20 that were for sale by owner. And so I could see them. It said a number, and I could click on that number and see those for sale by owner properties. And that was great. If I just wanted to see the for sale by owner properties, actually gave them more exposure. Now they're mixed in with the 1,200. So I'm not sure exactly how that serves people, but anyway, that was a change that he kind of claimed victory over. Jared, James, Ricky Kruth respond, and he responds to them. And this is the drama. Like this, it's just so stupid. He said, basically, one of them said, Ricky Kruth said, Zillow owns you nothing. The business model is not to help for sale by owners sell their properties faster. It's not what they're in the business for. They are there to sell properties. They're there to sell properties, or they're there to sell leads to real estate agents. They're not there to sell properties. And that is exactly true. All right. In the article, it says, bottom line for agents, transparency is non-negotiable. Steering is a bad look, and the industry is evolving. Adapt or be left behind. If I have enough people ask, I'm going to watch every single one of Realtors Hate Me videos and do a react to each one of them in succession. Because when I started to watch what he was doing, I started to comment, like giving him like, oh no, man, that's not exactly how you do it. Here's how you do it. It was just everything that he was running into. I felt like there was an easier, different solution than what he thought. And his perception of what was happening was not accurate. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought that it's as if there's a violin on the ground, and you have somebody that, has maybe seen a violin, maybe they've plucked a few strings, and they pick up this violin and they start trying to play it, and they're like, oh gosh, and this is such a conspiracy against people that can't play violin. And it's not. It's just that you don't know what you're doing. And that's not a negative thing, that you just learn what to do. And people can learn what to do and sell their house. But a lot of what he was running into was a misperception or a misconception of a rule, or not fully understanding how some things work. And he didn't know how to play the instrument that I've worked almost 20 years to play. And it's easy for me to play. And I can pick it up and play it and do a way better job than a for sale by owner, because I've got 20 years of experience selling thousands and thousands of houses. Not only that, When there's a problem that happens if you're under contract, or if there's a problem that happens under contract, I know how to rescue the deal and still protect my client on both sides of the transaction. Or I know how to renegotiate. So there are several things that happen. I'll give you an example. He tells the story of buying the house and how he felt rushed to buy the house and how he thinks that shouldn't be in the industry. People, a real estate agent shouldn't push other people to purchase a home. And so he got under contract with the house. They came and saw it in person. They didn't like it. They fell out of contract and then got back under contract at a lower price. And he said, all this could have been avoided if we weren't rushed. No, you're absolutely incorrect. You may not have wound up with a house if your agent didn't rush you to go ahead and go under contract with it, because somebody else could have purchased it. Then you would have no ability to go visit the home and renegotiate a lower price. You don't know what would happen. I sent a property to one of my clients a week ago, and I said, this property has been on the market 200 days. However, it could go under contract today or tomorrow. You never know. If you like this property, you should move on it. You never know what's happening around you in the market. And they were like, yeah, okay. And I'm like, yeah, this matches exactly what you want. I tell my clients, it's the only time that you're going to feel a push from us is when we see a property that matches exactly what you like and you like it. You're just not making the decision. I just want a decision one way or the other. Yes or no. This was a yes for them, but they weren't moving on it. So I finally said, okay, send me the offer. I sent them the offer paperwork. They took 24 hours to sign the offering paperwork. They signed the offering paperwork. It was delivered to the other agent. The next day, it was delivered to the other agent late that night, 24 hours after I set it up. The next day, I get a notice from the other agent saying, hey, thanks so much for your offer. It's a multiple offer situation, but we've already accepted the other offer. Would you want to be back up? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? The property was on the market 200 days. How did it go under contract? You never know what's going to happen. So a good agent is going to disclose that to the client so the client understands the market dynamics, that even in a market where there's an average days on market of 120 days, which it used to be back in the day, a property can still sell in one day. It can still happen. A desirable property at a good price will go under contract. So what do we want to do for our clients when we find a property that matches what our clients are looking for? We want to get them under contract on it. And there's a lot of ways to renegotiate later, which his agent was brilliant in doing for him. But he says he shouldn't have been rushed. If you weren't rushed, you may not be sitting in that property, bro. So there's a lot of things like that where he doesn't know how to play the instrument. It's a misunderstanding. And I understand his misunderstanding and I understand the frustration, but just because a product or service is not available for free or cheap doesn't mean, or easy, doesn't mean that that product or service doesn't work for the consumer. Are there agents in the marketplace that cannot justify 2%? Yeah. Are there agents in the marketplace that can't justify 1%? Absolutely. Are there agents in the marketplace that could justify 7 or 8? 100%. For sure. It depends. If you really want to sell $1 million property and your biggest gripe from a for sale by owner standpoint is, I can't list in the MLS, you're already a bottom of the barrel feeder real estate agent. A real estate agent who lists $1 million property in the MLS, and this is all they do, is not worth the percentage that you would pay them. Of course. Now, if they do tons of marketing and advertising and put you in specialized magazines and on specialized websites that are just for those luxury clients, and they network with other agents around the country who have those type of clients that may be moving to your area, and they're able to stand in front of companies that are bringing their executives in, then these are the things that you pay for, the additional exposure. And you would be hard pressed to tell me that additional exposure doesn't help sell a home. It definitely does. Matt Lamar says Scap loves this guy. He probably tops his driver. Scap said, I'm still waiting on the appraisal to come back. And then his new appraisals hate me Instagram share. Okay. Now let me give you a little bit of background on this guy, because I don't begrudge him at all. I don't want that to come across. It's just a misunderstanding of the market and the misunderstanding of what we do as agents. And I wish I could just be beside him when he's making these decisions and say, no. Here's how to do this. Here's how that works. And if you do it like this is how you get the biggest benefit. And while that agent is crass, they're not incorrect. And here's why. Here's how to use that agent to your benefit. But these are the things that I've learned in 20 years. It's not possible for me to teach that to a for sale by owner. So this guy, Mike, Realtors Hate Me, is no stranger to marketing. He's done a lot of really smart marketing campaigns. I've looked him up and he's done some good stuff. So average for sale by owner is not going to get the same result that he got because he does know what he's doing as far as marketing goes. I think there is a lot of things that he could have taken advantage of to potentially get a higher price. As a matter of fact, one of the things he said was that all the agents that he interviewed said he should sell at a higher price. But yet he now goes under contract and claims to have saved $80,000. But what if those other agents were correct? What if by using their services, you could have sold at a higher price? If one of those potential prices was $100,000 over where he sold, then he didn't save any money. He gave up $20K to sell his home himself and go through all this stuff. So then at the end of his experience, like, all right, we need to disrupt the industry. We're going to disrupt it using AI. And it's like I don't know what it is, but it kind of sounds like a do it yourself with AI assistance. And if you can't do it yourself, here's an agent and you'll be able to do part of it yourself. And the agent will give you a discounted price. The person that's trying to DIY is then delivered to the agent as a lead. And that's where some money is made for Realtors Hate Me, Mike. Basically a lead gen service that offers a DIY product using AI. That's my guess as to what his company is going to be. But he named it Ridley, RIDLEY, and he's starting this, and you can go and sign up. The smartest way to sell your home. He's got a beta group for sellers and agents that you can sign up for. And he's got investment if you want to invest in it, or you can take his survey. Okay. Some say this was his plot from the beginning. Others say, no way, this was his plot from the beginning. He says this was not his plan from the beginning. Living in Columbia, South Carolina. What's up? She says, I swear it's all marketing ploy for all of it because this is the way he gets views on his property. He owns a marketing company. I'm sure his agents has agents for his clients. And oh, that's a good point. Does he have agents for his clients? And really, you cut off. I don't know, cut off there. Sorry. I know his sister is a real estate agent, which I thought that was interesting. I'm not going to dox her or anything or put her out there, but she seems like just a normal, good agent. And he told somebody that some of his family was realtors and didn't really like what he was doing. So I guess that's who he was referring to. But the way he went about it is a classic social media style that creates conversation around controversy. And obviously he was going for that style because the name of his account is Realtors Hate Me. If he wasn't going for controversy, why would he name it that? That doesn't make sense. So he was obviously going for some controversy here. So if you guys want, pop in the comments. I will take on each one of his videos that he's done so far up until the day he sells. And we'll take a look at it, do a deep dive into what he says is happening, what is actually happening. And then I can give some advice for people that do want to sell their home alone. We can talk about how to do that. And then for agents that are in the marketplace that are seeing sellers do this kind of stuff, we'll talk about maybe appropriate ways to deal with them and react, and inappropriate ways that you've done already to this guy, this poor guy. No, he knew what he was doing. He knows. He seems like a nice guy though. I mean, I don't have anything against him at all. It's just a misunderstanding. It's not he thinks it's a conspiracy against him, but, or some kind of grift. And are there agents who are part of a grift? Yeah, 100%. But you know, like I said, there's that in any industry. So I don't know of a single industry where we could say they're 100% professional all the time. What's one? Name me one. There's not, even doctors have malpractice. So even attorneys get in trouble for stuff they do that's illegal. I mean, just look at well, I'm not going to name them out there, but yeah, there's a lot. I don't want to get sued. What are you saying, Matt? Matt Lamar says he will go on the contract, but like any other FSBO, he will not sell. He knows what he's got. Oh, what do you mean he will go? You mean he will go under contract? Like any FSBO, he will not sell. He knows what he's got. How many times have you heard that? Oh, I know what I've got. Great content for script practice, says Courtney. Yeah. By the way, Arkansas is up over South Carolina, just so you know. I just want to give you that. Just want to give you that notice. Yeah, under contract. All right, I got you, Matt. Thanks. All right, so what do you guys think in the comments? What do you think of Realtors Hate Me? Love the guy? Do you hate the guy? I don't hate. I think he's great for the industry. I think some of his points are not valid. I think there are a lot of valid points to make. I think some of the things that he's bringing up are not valid. Courtney says, "Boo." Yeah, we're putting it on you after you guys embarrassed us. Now we're putting it on you in the SEC tournament. So, all right, let's talk about some economic news. Let me find it. Let me find the economic news. I've got two sets of tabs. One is industry tea, which we had a lot of tea this week. And we're going to go super fast through all of these stories. All right. Housing inventory in Florida just hit the highest level on record. Woo! If you have any friends that are real estate agents in Florida, then you know that they are listing properties and those properties are sitting. What do you do? I mean, I guess you got to market it a little more, huh? This is the flip from a lucky economy is not the word. Lucky market for real estate agents and a skills-based market for real estate agents. And I love the skills-based market. But you can see Florida housing hit a record high. We're going to keep going here. Home price growth slows as mortgage rates dip to the lowest level in over 2 months. Back when Dan and I did the show, we saw this like every week. Home price gains drop. Home price growth slows. And we always thought it was really funny because what it's not telling you is that home prices are still increasing, just at a slower rate. The rate in which homes are going up are now lower. So the median U.S. home price just rose 3.5% year over year during the first 4 weeks ending in February 23. That's the smallest increase since September. And mortgage rates have declined to their lowest level in more than 2 months, dipping from 7.13 to 6.78. In addition to a bit of the cost relief factor working for buyers' favor, house hunters have a bit more power to negotiate the sell price. Hopefully you guys are telling your clients that. So yeah, home price gains slow. It still means that homes are gaining, just at a slower rate. Let's look at this one. 1 in 7 pending home sales are getting canceled. It's the highest share during this time of year on record. It reminds me of comedians a couple of years ago. They're just getting canceled right and left. Now it's contracts. 14% of pending home sales are falling through. It's the highest rate for this time in the year on record. The highest rate recently was 16.4%. That was March 1st, 2020. What happened March 1st, 2020? We know, I know from just my work with clients that a lot of them are being canceled because people are just looking at the uncertainty in the economy, and there's some believers and some that don't believe, and they're like, maybe we should hang out for a little bit and just see what happens. The rates changing too. You may see people canceling their contract and then getting a better rate and going under contract with something different or maybe a bigger home. So it's a little bit of a wait and see, but I don't think this will persist. I also know that my buyers are very condition sensitive for the prices that they're paying. So they go under contract and then they can't, they can't deal with the inspection that comes back. So we see that kind of stuff too. All right, investor home purchases declined slightly nationwide, dropped significantly in parts of Florida. So investors are not what's happening? I thought investors were buying everything and not enabling anyone to purchase a home. Well, the highest bit of investing was in 2021, it looks like, where investor purchases skyrocketed, and then now they're down under the median. So the year-over-year growth in investor purchases is negative 4%. So year-over-year growth is negative 4%. Does that mean that doesn't mean they're selling off? It just means that they're not growing as much. So the national investor market share is now at 17%. The highest point was again in 2022 when it was closer to 23%. Pending home sales are down 6%, but falling mortgage rates are starting to attract buyers. We are seeing more people kind of enter into the market right now. I know it's been a busy couple of weeks for us. Hopefully it has been for you guys too, as more people are coming back to the market once they see that rates are in the mid sixes. And depending on their rate, they could even go lower. And this is what we see. Mortgage rates may tick down after a soft February jobs report. This came March 7th, but that afternoon, Danielle Hale of Realtor.com also posted this. Buyers have more homes to choose from as mortgage rates drop, while jobs report shows unemployment ticking higher. And this is what, so we've talked about this in the past. This is what has to happen. In order for inflation to decrease, unemployment has to go up some, because that's what keeps the rates low. It just happens. That's what happens. So either you have more job openings and less people taking those jobs, or you do have unemployment ticking a little bit higher, and that kind of starts to balance the market. If everyone's always employed, then people are buying all kinds of things all the time. That increases the number of orders. Production can't keep up with the orders, so they raise their prices on the product that they're producing because supply and demand. Let me go to the next article, NAHB. So this is one kind of about the whole tariff situation. So the situation does remain fluid. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, where the steel and aluminum tariffs would not impact homes super negatively, but could lumber tariffs impact new builds? Absolutely. So it looks like that they are negotiating between Canada and the US right now, lumber and dairy tariffs. The dairy tariffs that Canada currently has on the US is 250%. So the US says, hey, you can't do that. And y'all are subsidizing dairy and giving it this huge tariff. Or actually, Canada is saying, well, y'all are subsidizing dairy. And the US is saying, yeah, but you're putting this huge tariff on it. You guys subsidize lumber, so we're going to put a huge tariff on that. And it's going to be 250 to match your dairy tariffs. And so I think both of these tariffs will probably come down, but it's a little bit of a wait and see. The NAHB secures a lumber inclusion in the delay of the Mexican-Canada tariffs. This was posted March 7th. So 2 essential materials used in home construction, softwood lumber and gypsum, used for drywood, are largely sourced from Canada and Mexico, respectively. Additionally, the numerous raw materials and components ranging from steel and aluminum to home appliances are sourced from China and are already subject to existing 301 and 232 tariffs, which at an increased cost of construction. But again, the steel and aluminum is moderate. Let's see where it says NHB received anecdotal reports from members saying that they are planning for tariffs to increase materials costs between $7,500 and $10,000. Now, the NAHB represents a lot of builders of all types, but they also represent the multifamily builders who do use more steel and aluminum in their builds than just a regular single family product. So there could be a 25% tariff on Canadian products, which includes softwood and lumber. Let's see, this means that tariffs on lumber would surge on April 2nd to 39.5. Moreover, the Commerce Department has signaled that it plans to roughly double the 14.5% tariff rate later this year, possibly in September, meaning that the overall tariff rate on Canadian softwood would rise 50% in the fall and even approach 60%. So let's see, where is Trump's directive to examine current policies related to permitting and timber salvage are welcome first steps toward responsibly increasing domestic production. Trump's executive order directing the Commerce Department to investigate national security concerns related to lumber imports could also help identify obstacles that have limited sawmill production today. So NAHB reached out to the president to urge him to reconsider the March 4th directive to impose Canadian and Mexican tariffs in Chinese goods and Chinese goods. I'm looking for the result. Where's the result? Show me the result. Moving forward, NAHB will continue working with relevant stakeholders to roll back tariffs on building materials, boost sawmill production, and increase domestic supply from federally owned lands. So one of the things that they did, there's a lumber lobby, and the lumber lobby is super excited about what's happening with the deregulation so that they can cut more lumber and do it in a responsible way. All right. So that's the news on that. We'll keep our eyes and ears on the tariffs. What's going to happen? Typical U.S. homeowner stays put for 11.8 years in parts of California. It's closer to 20 years. So for a long time, it was 13 years. It looks like that number has gone down to 11.8. California is also home to 3 of the 5 metros with the biggest increase in homeowner tenure over the last decade. Providence, Rhode Island had the biggest uptick, hitting a median tenure of 16.8 years in 2024. That's up from 10.9 years in 2014. All right, so it gives the longest median tenure and the biggest increase in the median tenure stats on this Redfin report. Hopefully Rocket Report will be the same. All right, and this is this week. This was released today. Weekly mortgage demand surges 11% higher as interest rates drop for the 6th straight week. Applications to refinance a home, which are mostly influenced by weekly rate changes, increased 16% from the previous week and were 90% higher than the same week 1 year ago. And then applications to purchase a home were up 7%. Bum, bum, bum. I should have just played a sound effect, but wait, there's one more article that we have. Where'd that go? What about inflation? Here it is. This is the last article of the day. Inflation cools in February as falling gas and airfare prices offset rising housing costs. Overall prices rose 2.8% in February from a year earlier, a slowdown from the 3% increase recorded in January. Monthly basis prices rose 0.2%, which is slower than the 0.3% consumers expected. Annual inflation ticks down after 4 months of increases. Overall prices rose 2.8% in February from a year earlier. I just said that. This is the chart. There was a huge spike in 2022 up to 9%. And then it slowly went back down in 2003 to around 3%. And it's gone up and down, but it's stayed around 3% until it looks like 2024-ish at the end. And then it went down to 2.5% or so, and then back up and now back down. So it went back up to only about 3%. Now it's back down to 2.8. So it does look like inflation is starting to go down, which is good. That's what we want, right? Prices to go down on stuff. But this may mean that the Fed chair is not going to adjust rates. As it approaches that 2% target, if it's going down, they don't really have to lower rates. So, yeah, that's what it says. Fed pause leaves housing market in limbo as spring arrives. So I don't think there's going to be the Fed dropping rates. But I also think that means that people are going to get used to the current rate. Man, that was like a whirlwind at the end of the show. But we had so much industry tea to cover from being gone for 2 weeks that I think we just had to. So thanks everybody for joining us today. I'm going to let you go. Razorbacks are still playing and we are leading. Knock on wood. Hopefully we will win. But if I get enough feedback, if you guys will tell me, do you want me to do a Ray Reacts deep dive into all the Realtors Hate Me videos and to go through and talk about, or it's just not, we just don't care and we're just going to leave it? Which one? You got to pick one. You got to tell me. So if you're listening now, if you're listening later, you got to tell me. And thanks for those of you that mentioned it this week. I ran into 2 people that I didn't know that mentioned the show. So that's really cool. Thank you guys for listening. Thanks for all of you downloading the podcast. And feel free to reach out to me at Razorback. That's RAYZORBACK on Instagram. I'll see y'all next week. Bye, everybody.